Welcome back, Defenders. Today we're going to start with this new Gallup poll. Ukrainians skeptical of seeing an end to active fighting soon. This was one of the questions. In your opinion, how likely is it that active fighting will come to a lasting end within the next 12 months? 34% of Ukrainians responded very unlikely. 34% responded somewhat unlikely. This means that nearly 70% of Ukrainians don't believe the war is going to end in the next 12 months fighting on the battlefield. So this obviously affects this next question. Which of the following statements about the war with Russia comes closest to your personal views? The green line is, Ukraine should continue fighting until it wins the war. The dotted blue line is, Ukraine should seek to negotiate an ending to the war as soon as possible. Almost 70% of Ukrainians support a negotiated settlement with Russia to end this war as soon as possible. Only 24% of Ukrainians now say they should continue fighting on the battlefield for as long as it takes. These numbers have flipped since 2023, meaning Russia's air campaigns are working. The nightly bombing and drone and missile attacks, it is affecting the morale of Ukrainian citizens. I want to share this post from Kate from Kharkiv. I've shared some of her content here on the channel in the past. She's a Ukrainian resident of the city of Kharkiv, and she's been getting bombed for 3.5 years by the Russians. I'm so incredibly tired of guessing if my loved ones are all right after another explosion shakes our city at night, of sitting there wondering if I should call them just to make sure, or if calling would only scare them more. Tired of feeling small and powerless every time they strike. Tired of telling myself not to spend a single extra coin because what if they damage our home again? Tired of carefully choosing my words every time we say goodbye because hell knows where the next drone will hit. Maybe it's the last goodbye. I just want to have a life again. On the picture is a fire in Kharkiv after another Russian drone strike. So yes, a supermajority of Ukrainians want a negotiated settlement, but that doesn't mean capitulation. That doesn't mean surrender. Russia has to offer reasonable terms for Ukraine to agree to them. Over 70% of Ukrainians reject Russia's peace plan, and support for US proposal remains divisive. Russia wants all of the territory they claim belongs to them. They want Ukraine basically to demilitarize, reduce the size of their armies so they can't defend themselves, no more weapon shipments from NATO countries, and I think Zelensky has to resign and go away, and then a pro-Russian president has to be installed in Kyiv. Those are Russia's terms, which Ukrainian citizens are never going to agree to. So Zelensky knows these polling numbers, which is why I think he's changing his language. This is what he's saying this week. The pressure is working. Zelensky says Russia appears more inclined towards a ceasefire following the Putin-Witkoff meeting. Here is President Zelensky speaking for himself. It seems that Russia is now more committed to a ceasefire. The pressure on them is working. But the main thing is that they do not deceive us in detail, neither us nor the United States. And we propose that in the near future, our representatives of Ukraine and our partners, our security advisors, will speak to determine our position and our common position and our common view. For us, for Ukraine, this is very important. So yes, I think Zelensky is speaking this way to give his people hope, but also to placate Trump, because this is the language that Trump wants Zelensky to be using. It is time we ended the war. Zelensky confirms talks on trilateral leaders summit. Zelensky has been saying this for 6 or 7 months, that if Russia proposes reasonable terms to end the war that can be agreeable to both sides, Ukraine is happy to stop the war. Ukraine is happy for a peace deal. They're happy for a ceasefire. It's the Russians who are not cooperating. But here we go. Putin Trump to meet in coming days, Moscow says, as U.S. sanctions deadline draws near. When Trump was sworn into office on January 20th, this is one of the first things he wanted. The first week or two he was in office, he said they were in negotiated talks to have a face-to-face meeting with Putin, and Putin was ignoring Trump for the last 6 or 7 months, refusing to have this face-to-face meeting. But because Trump said, "This is it, I'm finally going to place sanctions and tariffs on Russia and their trading partners," this was Putin's ace in the hole. Putin knew that as soon as he offered a face-to-face meeting, Trump would back down and give the Russians more time. Here is Putin speaking for himself. This is what he said. The reporter is going to ask, "I would like to clarify, who initiated this meeting?" Putin lies and says both sides expressed interest when it's been Trump the last 7 months wanting this meeting. He then continues, "It no longer matters who said what first. Can you clarify? Your aide said it will most likely happen next week. But where? At least hint at the location. We have many friends who are willing to help us organize events of this kind. One of such friends is the President of the United Arab Emirates." I guess this is the President of the UAE. "Yeah, I could be there in Dubai or in Abu Dhabi. I think we will decide, but that would be one of the perfectly suitable locations. And what about Zelensky? Will there be a meeting with him? I have said many times that I have nothing against it in general. It is possible, but certain conditions must be created for this. Unfortunately, we are still a long way from creating such conditions." So there we go. No Zelensky meeting yet, conditions still unmet. Going back the last 7 months, Trump was trying to get Putin and Zelensky to meet face-to-face, and the Russians were saying we can't, because Zelensky is not the legitimate leader of Ukraine, because Ukraine has not held elections, because they're currently under martial law. Zelensky's not the legitimate leader, therefore it would be inappropriate for Putin to meet him one-on-one. All of this is theater. All of this is so incredibly stupid. When there's a war and there are peace talks, heads of state show up last to sign the final documents. They don't show up first to begin negotiations. So Trump has this delusional fantasy that if he can just get in a room with Putin, or get the three of them in a room, or get Putin and Zelensky in the room, something magical will happen, and a finalized peace deal can be made in less than 30 minutes. This is delusional. Very good prospect. Trump plans back-to-back Putin and Zelensky summits. So because Putin is refusing to meet with Zelensky, Trump is going to first meet with Putin in Dubai or Abu Dhabi or something. Then Trump is going to meet with Zelensky. All the pictures and cameras and reporters will be giving him attention, which is the only thing he wants. Here are thoughts from Garry Kasparov. Trump only ever cares about the Trump show. We have known for years that the only way to end this war is to aid and arm Ukraine to win, and for Russia to lose badly enough to finally leave. Anything less is at best a postponement, while Putin rearms, corrupts, and infiltrates. Let's check in with Kremlin State TV. What are they saying? Russian State TV discusses an upcoming Trump-Putin summit. Here we go. If we carefully look at President Trump's statement when he was talking to journalists yesterday, in addition to his social media posts, he demonstrated an ability to learn from his mistakes. Listen, where has his maximalism gone? He says nothing about an immediate ceasefire. There is none of that. Furthermore, look at Rubio's statements. Rubio says that an issue of territory is very important. This also has just started. It didn't happen in the past. Until now, it was categorical. Either a ceasefire or sanctions. Now, there is none of that. Trump is demonstrating an ability to learn from his mistakes. I would simply like to say, we used to wait for something and get disappointed. There was Istanbul 1, Istanbul 2, Istanbul 3. These were the direct talks between Russia and Ukraine that Russia wasn't taking serious because they don't care. I only want one thing. I want a point of no return. All of us are trusting and hoping, many are tired, and would like an end of military actions. On our terms, of course. So the Russians haven't changed anything. They've conceded nothing to Trump. Trump continues drawing red lines, red lines, red lines, and the Russians don't change or do anything different, and Trump just tacos out every single time. Here are the tweets. We have the historical archive over the last 7 months. There was already a ceasefire on infrastructure. It came into immediate effect after the phone call between Trump and Putin. This is according to Trump's national security advisor, Mike Waltz. Russia then attacked civilian and energy infrastructure in Odessa, Kyiv, and Sumy. This tweet is from March. This was 5 months ago that Trump declared that he got a ceasefire with the Russians on energy infrastructure. And then the Russians didn't adhere to it. Here's a direct quote from Marco Rubio. "If our efforts to end the war in Ukraine fail within the next few days, we will inform President Trump that negotiations are no longer a viable option." This is April 18th. This was 4 months ago. And Trump just tacos out every single time. So why does Trump believe this time is different? According to Bloomberg, Trump suggests Putin would be open to peace talks in exchange for territory. The developments follow the meeting between Witkoff and Moscow. Okay, we're back to this. This is stupid. So I'm going to explain this one more time. The Russians are saying if Ukraine gives them the entirety of Donetsk, the entirety of Zaporizhia, and the entirety of the Kherson oblasts, then they'll agree to a ceasefire and potentially work towards a peace deal at some point in the future once all their conditions have been met. So the Russian military for 3.5 years has failed to take the city of Zaporizhia, has failed to take Pokrovsk, Konstantinivka, Kramatorsk, Sloviansk. The Russian military used to control the city of Kherson, and then they lost it. And these are massive cities. These are not tiny settlements supporting farmers. The pre-war population of Pokrovsk was 60,000. Russia's destroyed the city. The pre-war population of Konstantinivka was 67,000 people, and Russia has destroyed the city. Sloviansk, pre-war population 140,000, probably close to 100,000 people still live there. Kramatorsk, pre-war population 147,000, probably close to 100,000 people still live there. The city of Kherson, pre-war population close to 300,000. I don't know how many people remain in the city, but Russia wants that city, and they want those people. And then there's Zaporizhia, a city of 700,000 people. This is larger than my hometown of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And the Russians, for a ceasefire, want to be given all of these cities, all of these people. This is potentially millions of people and their homes, their property, their farms. And of course, Ukraine would be giving up all of their defensive positions, all of the defensive lines and structures that they've built over the last 3.5 years. Russia wants them to surrender it. In addition, to get the Russian military to the administrative border of Zaporizhia, they would then be within artillery range of the city of Dnipro, population 1 million people. If the Russians were allowed to cross the river, retake the city of Kherson, their artillery would then be within striking range of Mykolaiv, a city of 500,000 people. The Russians' ultimate wet dream is to get Mykolaiv and then circle around, blockade Odessa, starve out the city and take that city, link up with their forces in Transnistria, and then take Moldova. Ukraine is never going to agree to this. This is a waste of time. Donald Trump is talking about territory swaps, meaning that Russia will give back to Ukraine this tiny little piece of land in Sumy, maybe these tiny little pieces in Kharkiv, and exchange give up cities with millions of inhabitants. Once again, we must congratulate Putin on taking Trump to the cleaners. Putin has made no known concessions. Then, Trump had promised severe sanctions by August 8th, but now his servant Trump wants to meet Putin next week. Is Trump POTUS, or just a substandard clown? Here's the parody account Darth Putin. I have agreed to meet Donald for his first one-on-one employee review of 2025. Here's thoughts from journalist Ilya Ponomarenko. In other words, and quite predictably, amid all the noise and bluster, Trump once again keeps scrambling for excuses to avoid making any real, decisive move to make Russia stop the war. And Putin, more than happy to carry on feeding Trump and his buddy Witkoff the same old crap. I bet they in the Kremlin are rolling in the floor laughing, saying they can't believe this horse shit still works. This is who the Russians are. Russians open slave market of stolen Ukrainian children. Users can choose them by the color of their eyes. Since 2014, nearly 20,000 children have been taken from the occupied territories, and now Moscow is cataloging them online like items in a store. This is a new government website that just went up, and they're just listing Ukrainian children, currently in orphanages, to anyone who wants to take them. Ukrainian children are being displayed online like products. The Russian Occupation Administration has launched a chilling online catalog of Ukrainian orphans, displayed openly on the web. So their faces are blurred for this image, but on the website you can see their faces. These children are presented like products in an e-commerce store, sorted by age, gender, eye and hair color, health status, and even personality traits. Their faces are shown in the clear, uncovered photos. These children have families in Ukraine, and Russia is refusing to return them. So instead, if you're a Russian man in his 50s and you want to pick up a cute 13-year-old boy with blue eyes and blonde hairs, go on the website and take him home now. Russian society is the sickest, most disgusting society in the world, guys. It's unredeemable. It's unsalvageable. The fact that Donald Trump continues to try and save relations with this nation because he wants to do business with them. He wants to take their money in the future. This is pure evil on so many levels. So this is how we win this war. This is the game plan. I understand Zelensky is a diplomat. Zelensky has to placate Trump. Zelensky is going to play along. But nobody in the Ukrainian military is delusional enough to believe these peace talks are going to go anywhere. Russia has to be defeated, otherwise these wars will never end. Oil bases, railway stations ablaze as 82 drones pummel Russia. Ukraine reportedly launched 82 drones overnight, striking refineries, military sites, and rail hubs. Ukrainian drones strike Russian oil refinery in Krasnodar Krai. Ukrainian drones strike train station in Russia's Volgograd Oblast. Plan your work, work your plan. This is the winning strategy. Ukraine's not going to stop. Their own domestically produced drones are getting more accurate. Russia wastes their drones blowing up coffee shops and churches, but Ukraine actually goes after valid military targets, and this is rapidly degrading the performance on the battlefield of Russia's ground forces. If you want to see an oil refinery on fire, I'll link it down below. This is the Afhipsky oil refinery in Krasnodar. And because so many of these refineries have been hit, and Russia can't fix them, Russia to boost oil exports as drone strikes disrupt refining capacity. Russia's still pumping. The oil wells in the Urals have never stopped. I don't think they're being bombed. But without refining capacity, all this crude oil coming out of the ground is piling up. So Russia has to get rid of it. They have to continue exporting more oil because they can't refine it domestically anymore. Ironically, this actually brings down the global price of oil for everybody else. Here's the chart showing ICE Brent crude. Urals trades at a discount. And there was this huge spike when Trump started bombing Iran, and we thought the Straits of Hormuz might be closed. It then went back down, and it's currently $66 a barrel, but it's going to continue falling, guys. Global economic activity is slowing down. When economic activity slows down, energy prices fall. Inflicting serious losses, Ukraine strikes Russian radar systems and landing craft in Crimea. This is a pretty cool video. I'm going to link this down below. But Ukraine's intelligence released the drone video. This is the FPV video of them taking out some pretty high-value radar installations in Crimea. The entire video is 40 seconds. It's just drones slamming into stuff worth tens of millions of dollars. This is a radar system. This is pretty important. I can show you exactly where these domes, let's see here. So you see these domes here. Here's the Crimean Peninsula. We can zoom in on the tip right here, and this is where Ukraine successfully struck. Russia uses these radar installations to monitor Kherson and the Black Sea. I can't imagine how much they were worth, but they're gone now. In that video, we also saw this. This is one of Russia's most advanced mobile radar stations. It's used for the S-500 system as well as the S-400 air defense system, and Ukraine got it. Russia's Mi-28 attack helicopter blown up in a sabotage mission 550 kilometers deep inside of Russia. There's a partisan who got on a Russian base and filmed himself planting explosives under this helicopter. The helicopter was then destroyed. There's resistance active every day inside of Russia, sabotaging what they can sabotage, destroying what they can destroy. Other headlines: water crisis in occupied Ukraine, anger at empty taps deepens. This is a nightmare. These are Ukrainian citizens living under Russian occupation in Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia, and they don't have clean water. The taps have gone empty, and when the taps do turn on, this is what is coming out of this person's kitchen and bathroom faucets. Check out the quality of this water.
Сегодня водный день, 7 августа, Калининский район. Пожалуйста, уже с моющим можно стирать, мыть туалет, пожалуйста, с пеной. Вот такая водичка в водный день.
The water is blue. It's blue. Sochi women arrested after bootleg liquor kills 10 people. 2 women have been placed in pretrial detention over accusations they sold bootleg liquor that led to the death of at least 10 people. Your bootleg liquor is strong, Russia. It's strong. And it's killing people. This is a story I want to quick mention. Russia was in negotiations for a wet lease deal with Ethiopian Airlines. They wanted to rent aircraft along with crew, maintenance, and insurance to get around Western sanctions. Russia's Aeroflot is in serious trouble. All of their IT infrastructure was destroyed, so they want to basically pay the Ethiopians to probably operate flights domestically in Russia to help them out. And this fell through. Russia's bid to lease planes from Ethiopia falls through under sanctions pressure, so I'm sure somebody in the European Union or G7 told the Ethiopians, don't do it. You don't want to be associated with the Russians and then have sanctions on your planes for trying to help them. It's a lot, guys. I understand there's a lot going on. I saw this post from Yaroslava. She does letters from Ukraine about the war, history, and culture, and if you want to find her Patreon, she would love your support. But I do want to share this video of a 1-minute walk through the Carpathians. She says the Carpathians are safe. You can come here if you want. If you guys can get outside today and get some sunshine and fresh air, I highly recommend it. That's what I'm going to do. That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.